third talk for tonight is Daryll from Sourcepad. Anyways, matanong ko lang, sino yung mga first time mag-meetup, magandang meetup tonight? Dahil dyan, free pizza for you.
Hi. 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 So, this is my talk, progressing as a developer. So, where to begin? Because when I was thinking of the topic for this talk, I thought that what technical things have I done recently that would warrant a talk or something. Just thought that when I go to watch talks also, I'd rather just watch a talk wherein the person talks about what challenges they did or how they got better or something. Techniques as opposed to specific technical challenges na they try to implement or something. So what I'm trying to say is that as nag-enjoy ako sa soft topic talks or whatever. So I'll try to present this topic and hopefully you'll enjoy it or something. So this is me. I'm Daryll, web developer and race trainer at Sourcepad. So I like writing things down, and some of my hobbies include hiking, cycling, and I have 4 years experience, whatever that means. And I find that really weird because when you say 4 years, what does that really mean? If I'm just doing the same thing every day, is that really 4 years? Or how can I differentiate what is 3 years experience from 4 from 5 or whatever? So I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but I do know the difference between 4 and 0. So or 4 and 1. So I'll try to see if I can explain to myself from 4 years ago, or how I would probably architecture things, how I would code a feature. So if you're at a junior level experience, or if this is the first time that you've been to meetup, or if you're looking to try to get a Rails job, hopefully you learn something about some of the decisions that I made. 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I was also sitting literally on one of those chairs. I remember the first meetup na I went to in Prague was literally in Sourcepad. So yeah, this is a talk I probably wish I listened to when I was 4 years ago. So yeah, and if you're at mid or senior level experience, hopefully just correct me if I'm doing something wrong with the coding, or I guess if we follow the same path to get to a higher level of years experience or whatever, you'll see some of the mistakes that I'm also making. So yeah. So I'll try to implement a feature in Rails, but can be applied to wherever. I'll try to implement it naively, or just to make it work at first. Then I'll try to change how the code looks like based on how I probably would be writing the same feature today. So the thing about web application development is that it feels like you're writing the same thing again and again. It feels like you're writing, updating, whatever, creating a book. Okay, a book should be owned by an author. Author could approve a book or whatever, a Satoshi or whatever. So I'll try to make an example which everybody will be able to relate, and yeah, let's just see how it goes. So the keyword is years. So let's just say that I've done a lot of crappy code. So I'll try to see. I'm always trying to see what is the part of the code that I got wrong, or we didn't do a very good job of doing. So yeah, hopefully the end result will be better than the starting result. So yeah, so the feature would be I want to edit my posts. So the client, I don't know, has a blog or whatever, he just wants to edit his post. So client will also ask how long is this going to take. So I'll try to code this feature right now. So so we have a posts controller. We need to find the post first. So what we usually do is post equals find ID. Oops. If I can type correct. Post not update attribute. By the way, he didn't say what the post table had, but we'll just say that it has it has a title, and it has a content or whatever. So yeah, so he will be updating his post. Title. Oh God, ang dilim pala nung ano.
Patay yung ilaw.
Yeah, that's a favorite color ko to. Okay. Binata. Pero pinalaki ko. Kasi mag-event ko na pag pinalaki ko. Okay, so this is going to work. I hope this is going to work. So this is the good thing about Ruby, that I mean, you'll be able to understand what just happened. So obviously may code people oops. Okay, so let's see if it's going to work. So how do we normally check if it's going to work? Use Postman, of course. So this is something I would probably have done before. Obviously, ginawa ko siya kanina. So try natin. Oh my God, ayaw pabasa. Title. Content. Dapat gumana to ah. Okay, di gumana. Kasi it doesn't work because walang ID. Walang ID. So, hindi wala kasi. Upload, second. So, wala rin one. Apparently. So, create tayo ng oops. Oh yeah, good. So the good thing about type coding, like you're comparing with literally everybody. Wala talagang one ata. So, ayun, na-edit na. So, and that's, wow. So yun na, diba? So, tapos na. Yun na yung talk actually. Hindi ako naklo. It took me years to get that. But anyway, so this is like pre-testing or pre-knowledgeable test-driven development. When we first start programming, we just wanted to work, which is absolutely fine. For all intents and purposes, for this specific iteration, wanted to work, and it works. We were able to update it to what the client wanted. So, and we were also able to verify it by doing the Postman thing. So yeah. Actually, the thing is that if you're like studying Rails from the start, they always teach you the post, the create, and the read, the viewing of the posts. They very rarely tell you how to update this, so that's how it's done. Yun. So at this point, we could probably give a reasonable estimate to the client, saying that alright, it's gonna probably take, I don't know, 1 hour or so, or possibly more, like 3 hours. So yeah. That's what I'm trying to say is that when I was first starting out Rails or programming, I didn't really know the concept of an estimate. Turns out that when you're trying to estimate things, it's usually better to just estimate it, just overestimate than underestimate. So I'd probably put it at one point for now. depending on, or I'll just tell the client first na, or I'll try to do something first, then I'll give an estimate once I've done something. So turns out na 1 point lang siya, so ganito lang pala siya, or actually, to some they would probably put that 0 and probably just put that 1. So yeah, but the thing is that even if it has a bug, it already had a bug in the sense that if we can't find an ID, we already come up with a yan. Magkakaroon tayo nito. This is gonna to somebody using the site, it will show us a 500 error, which is going to be like an internal server error. So parang hindi nila what the hell happened. Parang it's not supposed to. It's not intended behavior of the app to just crash if ever you have a wrong ID. You should at least say to the user that alright, this ID doesn't exist. So and yeah, but I think this is okay for now. Of course, you have to edit. You have to make another iteration, handling errors. So we'll try to make a second iteration of the code. So I think this is the first, like within the first month of actually being told na sa client project ka na, ito yung una kong, this is the first thing na hindi ko parang like ko inisip na hindi mo siguro magkakamali sa ganun, di ba? And yet, and this story kong pero parang, oh God, na-reject na naman yung feature. Parang lagi siya nare-reject. So parang nakakasawa rin yung na-reject na feature. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, it's, for me, one of the things that I learned the hard way first is that if you're testing something, you're always going to test the happy path. You might want to test the error path almost immediately, or actually think of what are the possible errors that can happen. So right now, there's two possible things that can happen. One, since there are two lines of code that's actually there's 3 lines here, but there's 2. But this one, rendering the JSON file, depends on the first line. So I'd say that there's probably 2 errors that are most probably going to occur here. Either one is that wala kang makitang post, can't find the post. 2, can't update the attributes. So how that works? So I'll if I can't find the post, if I put post ID 2, but I just say empty title. So yeah, it still updates. No, it actually doesn't update. It just renders the post. As you know, in what the behavior in Rails is that it's still going to render the post, but it doesn't update the backend, whatever. So it looks like it's updated, but it really didn't. So yeah. So I have to figure out a way to handle both of those errors. So sabi na lang kung may mali ako dito, pero I would probably post Santos for so that's one of the errors solved. Let's try to make a test for this. I'll try to first do it without the test, right? So without the test, what I would probably be doing if I didn't know how to do the test is that I'll try it right now. Here. What does that mean? Because ano ba ginagawa ko? Yes, okay. Kasi JSON, kailangan ko ng whatever. Kung kailangan ko ng key. I'm going to try to do it with the test. Okay. So, opportunity may test na ako dito, pero try natin to. I'm going to execute the test inside. Okay, we failed. Just confirming that the test was the one who made it. So as you look, if pumasa yung test, you can just say na yun na yung test, baka chumamba lang. So I'm going to remove the line of code that makes the test pass. Alright, yeah. Does that mean 204? That means that nothing was rendered because we commented this out, right? So yeah. So if we didn't have a test, what would happen is that I'd need to go to Postman, write all of this thingy down, right? And how long is that? Like if I let's say another person was working on this, they would need to go to Postman, literally write this thing down. Database should have the same post, same whatever, and they'll have to, and they'll have to do the same thing again. So, yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if there's an argument for tests, this is it. Like you're literally going to save your time. You're literally also going to save another person's time. So I believe na time is gold. Okay? So yun. So parang why would you not want to save time, right? So it's hard at first because you need to learn all of these new random this new language of doing the test. But I believe na at some level it does help. So yeah. So do I want to write the error for not finding a post, or I just okay, post valid. Status, I'm rendering the post's errors. Or what? For the, I don't know, whatever. Ano man yan. So, let's see happy path. Copy this. Sorry. Try going in na. Context. If fails the validation. Okay. We are expecting the post title, the post content. You know what? I'm not actually sure if I'm supposed to test here, but I'm sure that the also confirming that it's not okay, work to do, right? So it does go to the thing. It does go through this path. So you have try to test everything. Okay, denied. Ganun. Kasi it's going to check. It's inside the post. Wow, it's getting like actually. Baka kasi ano ba? Oops. Binding title parang ano ba dito? Yun, okay. So, yun. So, yeah. Kailangan pala i-reload yung ano kasi hindi siya na, you need to reload it kasi it doesn't see na, the post doesn't see that it hasn't changed until you reload it, something like that. So yeah. So yeah, the mindset on testing I think is that, okay, if I'm going to be programming for the next 5 years, do I want to save future me time by clicking and clicking, especially on Postman? So I think maling grammar to set this, but whatever. Do I want to save time? So if the answer is yes, then you most probably want to learn how to test. So for me at least, when I was outside looking, I thought it's such an effort to learn this thing, and sometimes it's just like, it's literally you're learning another language, because this is like really different from, I mean, it's sort of the same, but it's also sort of different, especially if it becomes more complicated. You feel like does this test actually make sense? Is it testing the same thing? But I think that if you talk to yourself like 3 years ago, and I'm sorry, if the person from 3 years ago would be talking to you right now, they would probably agree that yes, we do want to save time. We do want to make it easier for ourselves to program. And for another person who's working on the app, they'll be able to understand it better if there's a test behind it. At least they'll be able to see na, okay, at least they know that they're guaranteed that if you're unable to find the post, that you'll be able that we render a correct error message, and if we are able to fill the validation, then we're also rendering we're also rendering the correct error message, or correct error status at least. So yeah. I find, and also I'm pretty sure you guys know this experience na tipong you build the thing, doesn't have test, you add something after, like an if statement probably, or a case statement. If post is unconfirmed or whatever, don't update it. I don't know. Or if whoever's requesting to edit the post isn't the post owner, then don't update it. Stuff like that. So if you haven't done a test on that part, you're not actually guaranteed that. I mean, probably works right now, but you're not guaranteed that it's going to work in the future. Or not guaranteed that. I mean, it's just helpful to have something backing whatever you've written. So yeah. Sorry if I'm blabbering or something, pero kung medyo weird na yung nagsasabi ko, paano na lang. But I'm trying to. So yeah. So think of testing as adding to your bag of tricks. At least, even if wala nakapansin yung ginawa mo, pwede mong sabihin sa sarili mo na, okay, at least dumaan na tong part na to. If ever kailangan ko i-debug isang bagay, at least pwede ko i-narrow down to one single case na ito yung bug na yon. Or if the QA is saying na, okay, there's a bug here, you're trying to tell the QA that probably just didn't write they didn't probably put the right parameters in, then you can find a way to simulate what he or she did and see if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, then yeah, you did make a mistake, or if it did, maybe they made a mistake. So it's not about it's just like you just want to confirm if it's working or not. So yeah. So the fact that it's hard, or is it though? I mean, or is it hard an excuse to not study it? Whatever. If it is hard, that means that you haven't made an extra effort to study it. So it's not just in testing. Like in most programming books or whatever, some of the whatever you're reading, like design pattern or whatever, or kung ano man yung nababasa mo. I think na if I'm having a hard time understanding this, and this idea has been repeated in multiple books or multiple blog posts, then probably if multiple other people find that it's worth their time to blog about it, then it's probably something that makes sense. Or even if it doesn't make sense, it's probably at least there's a point in actually looking at their idea. So so yeah, I guess the fact that it's hard, the fact that things are hard in programming shouldn't be a deterrent on whether you want to learn it or not. It's just make you feel that okay, I'll really learn this in order to prove to myself that I'll be able to get it in order for me to have a new tool added to my toolbox. So yeah. For second iteration, error handling first. Just actually thinking about possible errors, for me in my experience saves a lot of rejected issues. At least, I mean, of course, you won't be able to write perfect code always, and you shouldn't strive to do that if it. I mean, you should strive to do it at some point, but you should also just. It's better to just ship the code rather than make it super perfect or something. So yeah. And secondly, learn to love testing. If you like to save time, then you sort of need to study. So yeah, I'm just harping on what President said a while ago. So for third iterations, let's say the client also needs an endpoint to show posts. So I'll try to code that part. So fastest way to do this, I hope, is to do this one. So usually left show. Something like that. Something like that. So that's probably how it should look like. Just confirm it. Right. I'll try to just to confirm, just try to measure as much as possible. Shows the post. So the reason why split the two tests is just to make sure that one of the files are too long. But I'll try to show that post. So you would expect that the JSON can parse it, RX response that feels whatever one. Not sure if this is going to work, so might as well just try it out. So okay, no route matches. Okay. Okay. So we were able to see a post. Okay. Alright, yes. Just confirming that that was it. Okay, value is not equal to what? So the test passed. So yeah, we were able to make sure we were able to add another endpoint as per what the client requested. But we're also seeing that we have duplicated code. I literally copied the code from the endpoint above. So in Rails, what's the keyword to make this faster? To add the before a thing that you execute before an endpoint is hit. The answer is before action. So ensure ensure post is found. Okay. has to happen that if I didn't find a post, I should be able, I shouldn't be able to, I should be having an error. So this one has to happen. Render an error if unless there's a post. So yeah, let's try this out. Alright, so yep. Here, since we have to share the variable across two methods, then we have to do this to make it an instance variable. Agad natin to. Nakita ko yung post. Okay. Try ko lang siyang palitan. Post. May contact post. Okay. Post controller. Show. Just making sure that it's still working. Okay. Hindi nakalimutan tayo. Santos. Just making sure that. So if I'm probably talking to myself from 3 years ago, you'd probably be saying that it's too much for a test. What's the point? The point is that wala na. I mean, the point is you might as well just add one test for the failure path. I mean, what is the actual what is the cost? So probably a few milliseconds of testing time. So yeah. So let's see this. That is started. So it's not 200, 404. Something like that. Okay, the post, kasi wala akong post na ID. One. Okay, so yeah. Just confirming that it works. And okay. Sa kabilang side naman, post controller spec, when you don't dapat update, you differentiate two controller actions. Okay. Okay, still working. So yeah. Ayun. So okay naman. So good thing that we know some stuff about Rails and knowing the framework matters. What does this mean? So you might use a different framework, but regardless, you want to spend time drilling down on individual features for each component of the framework. So I find it hard to believe that you would write a web application or any application without using external code from somebody else. So if you're using Rails, it's a good idea to just study each method of each part of Rails. Yeah, I mean, not necessarily memorize it or something, but at least know that it's there. It's a free method if you really wanted to. If we didn't know before action or something, then you would probably need to write this method, but ensure post is found, something like that, instead of doing the before action, right? So what I'm trying to say is that if I was to talk to myself from a few years ago, parang okay, since you're also going to be a programmer for the next X years or something, might as well be familiar with most of the important methods or most of the important capabilities of the framework. Or if it's not existing, at least try to figure out how you would implement this. So ang personal na favorite kong lagi ko nakakalimutan na may methods, si active support. So turns out na may mga methods sa active support. For example, pluralizing something, may method siya dun na parang I really forget implementing it. So I really forget that it exists. So same with action controller, active record, or if you're not using active record. Same with RSpec. This is the testing framework that currently using right now. And for the common gems that you're making, the vice pagination, whatever, striving at gym rescue value. So you don't need, probably don't need to memorize everything, but at least at some basic level, may ideas tayo kung paano siya gamitin. And the rationality behind that is that I prefer to think of things as, if I'm a programmer, this is my job. I have a brother, he's trying to become a doctor, or maybe we have a lawyer friend, or he's trying to become a lawyer, or social scientist, or whatever. I'm looking at my brother, I'm looking at my friend who's trying to become a lawyer. They're studying this every day. Like, they're doing this thing every day. Like, my brother's always reading random medical jargon or whatever that I don't think you need to memorize all the different muscles of the hand. So I'm trying to tell to him, like, why do you really need to do that? Or to a lawyer, that do you really need to know the statute of a law that happened in 1950 or something? And for them, it turns out the answer is yes, in that even if you don't remember it, even if you don't memorize it, at least you sort of knew that it existed. It's like you have an idea that, okay, I haven't implemented this in a while, but at least I know that it exists. So practice. For example, here in updating posts, in web application development, ang common patterns, if you're gonna update the post, they're going to ask you, so how about if we email the person who updated the post? I don't know. So it might be a feature that that the client would request, or how about if we text message the person who somebody who is tagged in the post or whatever, or how about if the post should have tags or something. So even if we haven't actually created a tagging library, or even if we haven't actually done the sending of a text message, at least knowing that, okay, I know text messaging, Twilio exists. I know I know how to send an email, active mailer, or if I don't want active mail, action mailer, but anyway, action mailer, whatever. Or I know MailChimp, or I know mail something. So anyway, we have some knowledge na pwede natin sabihin kay client, or at least we can tell to ourselves na, okay, we know this, we can solve this. Think of it also as you're caching something in your brain na, okay, even if you're not actually going to use this right now, we might use this in the future, so might as well put it in there. So I mean, you might forget it, but if you didn't read about it, then you wouldn't really know about it. So you have nothing to forget. So might as well. It's like another comparison would be basketball. Like Kobe Bryant, nabasa ko na he's always practicing the weirdest shots, practicing shooting the left hand, practicing shooting from the weirdest angles. So in programming, it's not as flamboyant as basketball, but I do believe na deliberate practice, knowing your tools, knowing each method if possible, or knowing at least what each gem does is really helpful. So for example, exercise. What does this mean? Author joins books, merge book where, syntax error ba to? Okay na. So author joins books, merge book where available through means. So it's actually right from the Rails documentation, where what this actually does is that it's going to merge this first active record relation into this one. So what does that actually mean? I do not know. Before I browse this documentation, in order for us to learn that, we have to. It's easier to separate things than put them together and see what's the difference. So napansin ko na pag ginawa ko to, if I make this, then this is going to be a select something from author, select answer from authors, joins books, whatever. And this one is going to be like select book or available to available, something like that. Then it combines these queries together. In essence, you'll be able to get the authors of books where they are available, I think. Whatever. But yeah, it's probably true. I don't know. If it's not, then sorry. So yun. And if I could, and could is it possible to have just done this without using the merge function of Active Record. So apparently, I guess the answer to that is yes. And the answer to another answer, and you begin to think, so how did the SQL strings become something that is expressible in this notation for Active Record? So apparently there's a library in the middle called Daryll, and what does this do? So you go to GitHub Daryll and see what does this do, and figure out that and see a benchmark that, and you begin asking yourself, this is actually faster, both faster benchmark wise, or faster if I just coded it like normal as opposed to using Daryll or using SQL, whatever, SQL state strings as SQL, or am I just shooting myself in the foot? So you begin asking yourself, do I actually know how to test if things are actually faster than the other? Because I can certainly test which is harder, if it's taking me a longer time to code this, if I'm doing the same functionality, then that's probably harder. So, is there a gem or a Ruby feature where I can benchmark the speed of things that occur? The answer is yes. I don't know if it's a gem or a feature. I think it's a feature called benchmark. I haven't really used that before. I'm going to check. I'm going to ask Reddit or something. How do you benchmark code? Blah blah blah. So I did this once before under an alias, and turns out that the answer is yes. There's this benchmark IPS things which measures the number of iterations, blah blah blah, that will occur in a minute or something. I don't know. And I wonder if this is actually slower and I'm actually overtaking this thing. So if the answer is yes, which right now if the answer is yes, I'll just put it into bookmark for later saving. But at least if ever the client really needed information on saying na ano ba mas mabilis, mag-aral na lang ba tayo, or mag-pure SQL ba tayo, or mag-active record ba tayo, or maybe there's something else like just returning the database things as hashes, or I don't know. If at least you have some knowledge of doing, you have some knowledge of benchmarking or figuring out which is better, which is not, which is faster, which is not. Whew. So yun. The thing that most applications use the free gem thing. I guess, the answer to napansin ko lang na parang it's always the same gems. You'll see a Rails application, almost always lagi siyang may will paginate or may Kaminari, some paginating feature. Almost always meron siyang if there's a payment, then almost always going to be Stripe. If it's not going to be Stripe, it's going to be something that's similar to Stripe. So I find that okay, I'm a programmer, I want to study what are the things that are most probably going to appear in an app. And if I can execute those correctly, or if I can execute those properly, then that puts me in a better position to succeed and puts the clients in a better position. I don't know. So yeah. For example, in soft deleting, apparently in paranoia, what we just or act as paranoid. So basically, when you delete a post, it just sets that post as inactive or whatever, deleted, and whenever you query it, doesn't show the deleted thing. So, and the same with Stripe. They have a certain way of creating an HTTP client for their API. Okay. So yeah, don't need to know everything immediately. Just need to know enough that you understand how it works. And this could be, this doesn't necessarily need to be something that's sa pinakadulo-dulong loob ng Rails. Like for active record, what is where? What's the difference between where and find? Actually, napansin ko yung where, yung find pala is just the same as where, but you just take the first one. So yun. So trust the process. Okay. There will be times where you write your cool function to only see that active support already has it. At least na, well, I guess like half think of it half full. At least nagawa. That meron kang idea kung paano siya gawin, and yeah. So do take into consideration that each gem you add has a cost. You don't own it. You may have some bugs. It's slow or whatever. Yeah. So fourth iteration. I think this is similar to the first talk, wherein you want to split the things up to the smallest units that would make sense. Hindi ko na siya i-extract fully, pero post-update service. So, usually ang parang uso na ngayon is that ilalagay na lang nila sa service. So, in this na ganito, parang something like posts, update service, update service, by update, updated post, about updated post, strong permitted whatever permitted update post around or something, I don't know. So yeah. So yeah. So I'm going to try to split it out. Updated post that updated post. Post. Yeah. Valid. So I think in the interest of time, I wouldn't try it out. Try out everything. Wouldn't test it or won't put tests on it. But I think the point is that when I first started programming Rails, put everything in the controller. It's like okay lang yun. Okay lang talaga yun. Like at first, but you'll find out, and actually, if this thing is never going to change, like never na nagbago to endpoint na to, this is the most efficient way to write it. Wala akong extra service, there's no service inside. This literally has fewer lines of code than if I put a update service there. So, I mean, they're always saying that you want to refactor it as soon as possible or something, but sometimes if you're actually sure that it's not going to change, then why not just put it salpak mo na lang sa controller. The thing is that for updating a post, it's probably going to change. So you might as well, if let's say something happens wherein you have to specify which user, you have to allow which users can only post the thing, then we have to do something like this, wherein you insert the current user or whatever user's editing, or whoever user is going to edit the post. Add this like a dependency of the service class that you're doing, and today is user something like if the user owns the post or something. Post, something like that. So if the user owns the post, update the attributes, else error, authentication error, and yeah. So split makes it easier to think. Yeah. Did I write this one? So yeah. So I think one of the quantum leaps na I mean, like as a developer, is the idea that you can split things. It's almost always better to just split things into smaller chunks and have them do one thing only, ala what the first speaker said, na one operation only. Or for example, if in this case, like the only purpose of this controller is to check if the post exists, and if it exists, actually there's two or three purposes where it checks if given the request, if it's a request that makes sense, meaning that it has an ID. It will try to update if it has an ID and if it has these parameters. So we didn't write it down, but let's say that we did. If it has an ID and if it has these parameters, then try to update it. If it's able to, if the update succeeds, then render the updated post. Else, render the result of the render an error message related to the error that the post that the error related to what the error was. So, and in this part, this is just going to show if they try to update the thing. If it works, then it's valid. If it's not, then there is an error or something. So, so yeah, at least we've written a clear boundary saying that okay, this handles ensuring that a post will be found, and this ensures that the found post will be updated. So yeah, wala na akong battery. Meron bang ano dyan, charger? Wala. Okay, so yun. Talaga na lang bilisan as much as possible. So, this is where experience comes into play. So, the more times you see a controller, the more times you implement a user can update X, the more times you see patterns that work. So sometimes you might want to extract, sometimes you don't want to extract. So if it's something that you know that it's always going to change, you'll extract it. If it's not something that's probably going to change, for example, scraper, you run ko yung scraper once, why the hell do I need to test it? Na parang, aside from testing, that is actually worked at least once. I don't need to test it out multiple times if I'm just going to run it once. So yeah, I actually like this part. It's like I'm building a bunch of virtual buildings using Lego. So this is like this part of the app, the controller part, is the part where you verify the IDs. There you go. Service classes, the core of the app, put the business logic here. If you want to add a policy saying that these are the people who can only edit the post. Observers, like these are the people that will be notified if the post has been updated, or background jobs, or whatever. That's you put them inside the service. Model, kanya-kanya ano yan, pero you put that in wrapper around database. And every time you make an external call to another API, you make an adapter class. Trying to figure to wrap the HTTP transaction in a method or something. So yeah, forgot what I was writing on what was written on the last slide. But if I was to tell myself a few years ago how we're supposed to program right now, it would be one. Just try things. Oftentimes, I think the sickness, my sickness at least, I'm not sure with some of us here, but my sickness at the first few months is that I get this analysis paralysis na parang, this is hard, how do I do this? How do I meet all these gems? Especially when you're trying to make device work for the first time, like how does this make sense? Or even setting up Rails or installing Rails the first time, how does this make sense? But realizing that, okay, I'll give myself a few minutes or a few seconds to overanalyze it, then after that, just do it. That's number one. Just do things, whatever. It doesn't matter if it has tests, doesn't matter if it's the best program ever, whatever. At least it works. Number two, what was number two? Keep errors in mind. And write the test just for saving time, like just because you love your life and you spend more time, I don't know, programming, if that's really what you want to do in your spare time, or not programming, so you have more time to hike or ride the bike or something. For number three, knowledge of the framework, knowledge of the tools, knowledge of what the things you want, knowledge of what you can write or what you cannot write. Just because it's just going to save you a lot more time. Once again, it's going to save you a lot more time if you just knew that, alright, these methods exist, or this is how things are supposed to be done. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. And lastly, yung sa extracting, yung separating things into their own little boxes, if you will. It's like you're trying to balance once again, you're trying to save your time, not your time right now, but your time in the future, thinking that, okay, if I need to edit something, I need to add a verification. I know where to add it, in the controller, in the model, in the service, or which service if I'm going to add it. So yeah, to myself in previous 2 years ago or 4 years ago, it seems like a lot of hard work, and it actually is. It's because programming is hard. but it's in the same way that all professions are hard. So to everyone, I hope na somebody learned something, or hope that I don't know. Kasi, it's just like I had a bunch of free time recently to think. I was on a long ass train ride, just thinking like, oh my god. The first time that Sourcepad asked me to teach somebody how to program in Rails, parang, if I actually doing this, do I actually know what I'm talking about? Parang, it turns out that she was able to learn Rails, and the next one also, he was able to learn Rails. It's a nice feeling to tell yourself na parang, okay, at least I'm probably not the best programmer in the world, and that doesn't matter. At least I'm good enough to teach somebody about Rails, or to have somebody appreciate my work hard enough that I'll be that they're willing to pay me for it. So yeah. So if you have any questions, or any I don't know, hinaing or violent reactions about the process of how to be a better developer, feel free to ask me. I'm just here. Dito na rin ako nakatira sa Sourcepad. So yeah. Thank you for listening.